This is my first stream for the year for 2026. And welcome back, everybody. It's Creative Redundancy back again. The one known as CR. And hopefully my chat will actually work too. That'd be nice too. I guess we'll see. And yes, I see the chat. Yes. At least that's a good thing for this to start off the year. My chat actually works. So welcome back, everybody. As you can tell by the thumbnail and such, this is gonna be more of a winter theme kind of thing for me again, with the PSA in there. While I'm at it, because why not, right? Why not? So I keep seeing it in my feed at times about winter, like literally, like all the time now, even over on IG and such. Like I heard about that big dump of snow out east, from what I've been hearing, in the GTA area, among some other things. Really appreciate that. Appreciate you signing the guest book on the way in. And maybe something else on the way in, right? I appreciate that. I'll just tuck that in. Sorry, I'm just setting up my phone stand here. I need this on so I can actually hold the phone here. So yes, let's see. Yeah, I'm at 60% for battery. That'll be okay for now. So yes, I'm gonna actually start the stream like this, just to show you guys. Let me open my door here. Yeah. That's about like 2 feet tall, by the way. So yeah, the reason why I'm doing this is, like I said, it is winter time here, here in North America right now. And some places got a little bit more of it and such. For anyone that hasn't seen my previous video, well, you would realize that the temperature has risen out here out west here. Generally speaking. For anyone that didn't see that video, you can go check that out. Last Friday's video, yeah. As a change of pace, I decided to put that on. Yeah, it's all good, man. So good. So what have I been doing about it? Well, I'm actually trying something out right now. I'd show you guys, but I think I'll make a video on it, and I want to try it out first. Some ancient wisdom out there that I am gonna try out. Why not? It's the perfect time of year to try it out. And there might be something else I could try out in the summer, but I'll have to wait. I'm actually using one right now. I sent a select few a sneak peek of it. And there's a video out, depending if I change the schedule, out later this month, right? Which I'm also trying out. You'll have to wait for that video, so, but once you see it, it'll warp your mind. As I weave that in. If you know me well enough, well, you know what I mean when I say all those things. So, let me just grab my coffee here. made coffee this morning, and since I had to heat up some water anyways, well, I'm also using that apparently as I try something out here. Today might be a nice day out right now, relatively speaking, in terms of it's not too windy out, windshield's not a big factor right now. Like literally the actual temperature and I feel like windshield temperature, or that its convective loss of heat temperature is more or less the same right now. And with the sun in especially in the sun, it's quite nice. Obviously temperature is measured in shade, but in the sun it's quite nice. And I'm getting some more sunshine today, which is gonna be nice because I can charge up some of these solar lights that I have. Especially since obviously daylight hours are getting longer and the sun will start to rise on the horizon day after day until the summer solstice again. So what else have I been doing? So those things that you see me do in terms of like these outdoor things, yes, I've still been doing them. Just like in that video where you saw me, well, pushing some snow / ice, right? Yeah, I've been doing that too. Like I said, it's been less cold. Yeah, I'll say less cold. Maybe even lukewarm out here. So I've been utilizing that time to proactively do something in advance. Because Mother Nature has provided what I've been calling here a mini vacation that I don't have to leave. Not quite snowbird type of vacation, but what they say, relief from the winter for a little bit. So it's been nice. It's been definitely nice. I'm not complaining about right now anyways. However, I also realize it's January. And this won't last indefinitely anyways. Something will change. It's just an eventuality, right? I can hope for this more often. And sometimes, yeah, like the conditions I'm even seeing in the last couple days, even today, to a certain degree, right? Like, it's been like this for like over 7 days. Which has been nice. Like literally, as I look out like day after day after day, I'm just like, just seeing the snowbank that I have here start to settle out, not flatten out, but kind of be less in height, right? Like, I can barely show it, but there is a shine on the surface. like there's a thin layer of ice that's been developing. And that's another thing I want to be doing, and probably later today. Not exactly like chip ice, but more like make sure that it's walkable, right? So traction aids, and things to add traction to the ground. Especially if I can't totally remove the ice. Because like I said in this other video, I'm trying to remove the ice, the snow from the surface. Oh, and the water too, right? Because honestly, probably one of the better forms of traction you're gonna get is solid ground, right? Regardless if it's pavement, cement, or the grass area, for example. So that's what I've been doing more and more. And just like in this other video where I showed using the solar energy, the sunshine that's available, right? I've been exposing the ground to the sunshine a little bit more. A lot more. And it's been helping. You know? At least until it snows again. I mean, that's the real reason I'm doing it too. So it's just like, so I can get back to the pavement before the next amount of snow. You know? That snow that's out east right now, we saw it out west here a couple weeks back, right? And I'm just like, it's more or less the same accumulations, more or less looks the same on the roads at that time. Well, at that time, but obviously I'm talking about out east, so it's happening right now, probably, right? So, as a PSA, personal service announcement, right? Yeah, take winter seriously, right? And when you get a break in the winter, that's the time to do a little bit more if possible, or check on a few things, whatever it is, right? It's like, well, snowblower still working. It can still turn on and fire up, and turn the gears and the auger within it, regardless if it's 1 or 2 stage. Making sure that's working well, and actually not only be able to turn on, right? Like I saw someone at a snowblower didn't work, and there's a big dumping of snow, and well, I mean, they managed to get it working again, but it's nice to have a snowblower when it's snowing. Let's say a foot of snow. What's that? That's, let's say, yeah, a foot of snow, 12 inches. Anyways, trying to convert that back into centimeters. That's about, let's see, 12 times, about 20 some centimeters, give or take. It's nice to have a snowblower, or even one of those, which I actually did manage to try because one of my friends have one apparently now. One of those, what they call electric or power shovel, right? Basically, it's like a trimmer that you would use on your lawn. However, it's handheld and it's got an auger bit on the front. It's kind of like a miniature handheld snowblower, right? I managed to try one out. I was just like, which was quite funny because before I saw my friend and knew about that they had one, I was already looking that up randomly, right? Because one of my girlfriends was considering on getting one. I mean, they got it now, but an electrical one, right? I was just looking that up just to see, right? Just to do research, right? Because I never had one or used one, right? So when I was over at my friend's place, it did snow, so I'm like, I'll use this quote-unquote electric shovel, right? Basically a mini snowblower, if you think about a single stage, right? I'm like, well, you know what? For this amount of snow, yeah, it did help, right? Especially combined, and I say literally combined with manual tools and maybe something else, right? You got a system that can work. And you can add in some mechanical advantage tools. Like I've shown back 9 years ago now, 2017. I still have a version of it, right? Which gives me mechanical advantage for the snow removal. Like the clip that I just showed, when I was outside earlier, right? I have one of those right nearby. And I use it too. So I have, if you look at it I have different kinds of options. I guess redundancy, right? For the snow removal, right? So I have wider shovels. You know, for example, if it's not so much snow, it's not that heavy or whatever, it's not wet snow. I have scoops, right? They're narrower. They're they're that tend to be easier if you're scooping snow, for example, right? And stuff with it. Another thing I've been doing is knocking down the snowbank that I have here at times, leveling it back out at times. I was joking around with people like when we got this major dump of snow out west here, right? I was saying, I think the snowbank just 2x doubled, and people were like, yeah, it probably just did, right? And stuff like that. So all this stuff has been helping. You know, the traction aids, sand, salt, ice melt. What's that? Air ice melt. Like calcium chloride, I think. I've been understanding it a little bit more, apparently. And I'm finding some interest in it. I haven't used that personally, but apparently there's some things you could do with it. Apparently. And that can help in the wintertime, besides just melting snow or ice on your driveway, on your sidewalk, or, your front entrance, your exit, your back step or something like that, or deck, like something like that. Like especially right now, because yes, it's been getting less cold out here. Like, even days, and like, I'll actually say this, days where it's warm. And when I say warm, as in like above freezing, because it's been like that. So I'm getting this freeze and thaw cycle for the last little bit. Yeah, it's been nicer, even warmer at times, but that freeze and thaw cycle, right? So this is why I was saying earlier about taking advantage of certain days, especially if it was above freezing. Not too windy, right? Because the wind would cool things down, develop a windshield, and also blow heat away, for example, right? That's what it does, right? In that same way that it keeps you cool if it was summertime in the heat. Well, yeah. So basically, every time there was sunshine, warmer temperatures, alright, I was making sure that I was removing the excess snow off certain paths, right? Especially if I'm walking on these paths, right? For example, let's say, you get a shed or something in the back and you walk towards it, for example, right? Making a nice path for you to walk on, right? So it's wide enough. There's some traction aids, right? And stuff like that. Making sure that, it's not too deep of snow, and it's not just forming a bunch of ice that you'll slip on, right? That kind of sucks, by the way. I actually slid out, ran away. Now, I was actually more on the snowbank, so it wasn't too bad, right? So basically, I slipped on the snowbank, but I landed in the snowbank. So apparently, the snow reduced the impact of the fall that I took. It wasn't that bad. It was not that bad for what it was. Like, I'm okay. It's not like I actually sprained my wrist or anything serious like that. I was like, dang, right? Like that snowbank actually kind of reduced the impact force, because it was high enough up that I leaned against it. I was jokingly around with some people right? Because it's been icy around here and such, right? People are like taking their time. I can actually, when I see people, I can see they're doing the penguin walk. They're shuffling, right, and stuff like that, right? I was joking around with a friend of mine around here because I saw them taking a walk. I was just like, hey, we were just talking about it, right? I'm like, well, you know what? If you do, if you do start to ooh, lose balance, right? Aim for the snowbank, right? At least the snowbank will. There's some snow on the snowbank. It's not totally ice or whatever, right? And it may uh, reduce the impact of the fall, right? Slow you down, cushion it a little bit more, right? So that's one of the things I've been remembering. I'm like, yeah, yeah, and because I've seen it, I've done it before where I was just like, I slid out and I'm like, I landed on the snowbank, and it wasn't even so bad, right? It's just worse when you totally fall that 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 vertical height all the way down, right? Because like I've said in this other video a while ago, right? Like the force of impact, F, equals the height. Well, it's not equal to height anyways, but the force is. I gotta remember. Yeah, the fall to due to acceleration, obviously gravity, right? Because you're falling, right? And obviously, you get mass in your hands and all that stuff, right? So it increases the force, right? So anything that lowers the height of the fall, cushions the fall, reduces the speed, provides some cushioning, will therefore reduce in the equation F, the force of the impact, right? Because I think of all, like, because there was this one time, and I've told this before because I did a stream the next day about it, right? When I slipped out on black ice when I was biking in the winter, that was painful. And the thing is, when you ride a bike, your hands are actually higher. Well, you're more or less higher than if you were walking, because your hands are down by your waist, your knees, your hips more, right? But while you're biking, they're up higher. They're almost like waist, stomach level, right? So any kind of slip like that is even higher, which therefore the impact is going to be harder on you. And it's why I sprained my wrist on that time. That was painful, alright? Because I've slipped on ice while walking. It's not as bad as slipping while biking. I'm just gonna say that straight up. Yes, I figured that's important, so to remember about stuff like that. Let's see, where am I at? 23 minutes, okay. We'll see how long I go for. I'm not gonna go that long for this one, because I need to do some other things and such, right? And I'm also testing something out while I'm at it for today. Trying out some stuff. See how much it helps in the real world, alright? Yeah. Until I start testing it, it's just a theory, right? Well, theories can be biased. Theories, can be this and that, but, some real experience or experimentation in the real world, well, that can change that theory to something else. You can have a prediction or whatever, but, in fear, this will happen. But after testing, you have some more data to go on, right? More knowledge to go on, right? And of course, you gain some experience in how it actually behaves, works, handles the real world, right? Real world conditions, right? And just like how I was saying about that electric shovel, that's how you can search for it for whatever, right? Power shovel. I think there's some other names it might be known as, right? If you're searching this up or maybe considering on getting one, right? I was just like, I was just like, oh, now seems like a good time to try this out, right? Because there's actually snow on the ground, right? And stuff like that. I was like personally surprised how well it worked for the amount of snow, right? And stuff like that. I have my concerns about some of those at times, right? Like some of the ones that I've seen, the electrical ones, right? The ones handheld or let's say a single stage type of snowblower. Right? What I've started, I like, I've noticed in those anyways, right? One of the ones I've seen, right? And some from some of the videos I've seen people using them, trying different brands out and stuff like that. I've noticed that there's a lot of plastic pieces in there. I'm not saying it's all plastic, but like obviously it's not all plastic, right? There has to be some metal in there, right? It is electrical, right? But I was looking at the GP. What's up, dude? I know you don't know anything about winter in South Africa, but like, you know, hey. But this is how I'm keeping my cool. No, but I noticed that the auger pit bit, the thing that spins and breaks the snow slash ice or whatever, right? A lot of them were plastic. I'm like, well, plastic may or may not be brittle in the cold, but I know one thing's for sure: plastic can chip, right, or dent, right? Like, comparing that to like, a fuel-based snowblower, right? Maybe a little bit bigger. It's gonna be heavier, right? But when you see something like that, like maybe I'll show an example, right? The auger, the thing that spins around to break the snow, is more solid. Maybe even made from metal, right? So something I've been noticing. However, those electric ones, they're pretty lightweight, but that's because there's probably less metal inside, right? Compared to like a two-stage fuel-based snowblower, right? It's heavier, right? It's the trade-off, right? Some people can't wield or handle the weight, right? So, which one is nice, right? Like even my friend that has the handheld one, they have it for a certain reason. I can get it, right? I was just like, yeah, this helps you out, right? The snow removal part, right? Day to day, anyways, still got to do it, right? Just, especially if I'm walking outside, right? For example, right? Because my friends are like, oh, you don't have to do this, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's fine. I gotta walk out here anyways, right? So, I'm being excuse me. I'm being selfish. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. It just happens that it helps you too. But I'm doing it for me. Right? Like, I'm joking about that. I'm jokingly saying that to my friends, right? I'm just like, but yeah. What up, Nick? Oh, did you? Wait, why were you lonely though? Oh, in the lonely. Yeah. What's up, Nick? Yeah, so like I said, right now, let's see, where am I at? I think I'll go for another 10, 15 minutes at most. Because this is supposed to be more of a PSA, and I'm really getting down to the points, right? And stuff. Maybe there'll be another live stream. I don't know. We'll see. But what I was going to say was, like, you want to try this stuff out, right? The winter stuff. See if it can handle what you expect or can expect in your area. For example, like some of those plastic shovels, right? I remember back, well, technically it's the 2025-2026 winter season, right? So technically, it was the end of last year of 2025. But I was hoping someone, well, they were stuck in the snow, or they couldn't drive out because they were parked during that time, right? So a lot of accumulation of snow, right? And some of the snow didn't really pack. It was like, I think it was starting to get mixed in with some of the sand or pieces of pavement, right? Basically, it looked like it. It didn't clump like brown sugar, but it looked like brown sugar. If that makes any sense, like it would, like. But anyways, even that much, some people were their tires were spinning over it, in it too, right? Because there's no traction. It's very slippery. It wasn't ice. It's not like a sheet of ice on the ground. It's actually that snow has. It's very loose, and you don't get a lot of friction from walking or driving over it, right? So, anyways, I had to help a few people out. Because I was outside anyways, right? I was at my friend's place. I'm like, I got nothing else better to do. Right? And stuff like that. And besides, I wanted to try out some of those. Oh, hey, you can get out of snow with this or whatever, right? As options, right? I know, a little bit of sand, cat litter, gravel did help in this one time when I was helping this lady in a parking lot, right? Because she was trying to back out and get out of the parking lot, but she was stuck in a rut, like literally in a rut in the snowbank or the parking lot, anyways, right? So it wasn't even that deep. It wasn't even that deep. It was probably like an inch deep, but she had traction on the back side, right? But her front tires are spinning, right? Right? Like you can hear people trying to be like, right? And it's like, no, 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 no. Just stop. We're gonna do something about it, right? So like shovels and stuff on sand, gravel did help for that, right? However, with that said, someone else I tried to help out, right? I was looking, I was just helping them out, right? I noticed they were trying to break this bigger piece of quote unquote snow, ice, some solidified frozen water. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, right? They tried to chip it out with a plastic shovel with, let's say, wooden or fiberglass handle, right? They broke that shovel scoop right diagonally across. I was just like looking at it like, yeah, see, that is not meant for that, right? A plastic shovel is not meant for hard packed snow, especially ice, right? It's meant for fluffy snow, even wet snow, right? Something that has some give to it. And it's not, solid like a rock or stone, for example. Right? So basically, what literally happened was like, because they got it out when I came back inside and they were gone and they removed their vehicle, but they were saying to me like, yeah, we're gonna just go buy a shovel or whatever. I don't know, maybe they used some ice melt or maybe got some sand or whatever, but because I didn't see that part of it, but I did see them break the shovel. Like, I'm just like, yeah. So if you remember the limitations of the gear, right? So if you're have to use the shovel in the winter to dig out your vehicle, right? Yeah, a plastic shovel is better than nothing, I would assume, but realize the limitations of the gear, right? So if you got one in your car kit as part of your winter preparedness kit, right? A shovel, right? Like I was actually watching a video here, not totally locally. It's like several hours away, right, by vehicle, right? So not directly in this area, but relatively speaking, right? And I think it was a news related thing, anyways. But there's a about a car kit and some, there are examples of what do you have in your car or vehicle for the winter time, and the examples didn't show that much, right? I mean, yeah, there was a few things, right? Maybe jumper cables, maybe even a shovel, maybe even a blanket, right? Right? But yeah, those things do help, right? Because I know I've started to like do this kind of like, how do I say, spatial awareness type of thing in the winter a little bit. So when I see my friends or whatever, right, I'm in their truck, car, whatever, in the passenger side, right, I don't like make it very obvious at times, but sometimes I do, but I'll just be like, just go a quick glance. I'm like, I see some jumper cables. I see a blanket, and stuff like that, right? Maybe oh look, there's a tea light in the glove compartment, you know, with a lighter or something like that, or later in their central console, right, with a candle or something like that. I'm like, well, you know what? That's something, right? Maybe even a jumper battery pack that could recharge a phone too and stuff like that, right? So, like, some of my other friends, I take a, you know, I take a look. And I'll say something. Oh, hey, I see you got this. Let's say it's a battery bank, jumper, cable pack or whatever, right? Right. And I'll be like, if you hear me out on this, you'll understand why I say it like this. But I'm like, oh, I see you got this, right? That's cool. That's cool. And they'll say something like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Something like, oh yeah, I've had to use it once or twice or or whatever. I'm like, oh okay, that seems very useful. Yeah, you know, I'll say something like, oh smart, smart. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see. It looks very useful. Probably helped you out in the jam, right? And they'll say something, right? And I'll realize I'm like, you know what that is? That's called being prepared, right? Right? You realize that something like your vehicle, your car or whatever, issues with the battery, whatever, cold start, whatever, right? And having something like that, battery bank, the jumper cables and such, right? Or a combination of both helped you out in the past, right? So it's one of those things is like, you know what? Yeah, you have to pay for it, obviously, right? And stuff like that. Bring it, also recharge it and stuff like that. But those those times where you're in the middle of the parking lot and there's no one around, or the parking lot's like almost empty, right? And you realize my vehicle's not starting, and for example, because you were working or whatever, right? And suddenly the temperature dropped or whatever, you're like, right? You realize, oh, it's nice that I had this, something like that, for example. Hi, Iron Fire Horse, I see you in there. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the chat. I was listening. You know what, Iron Fire Horse, I did mention that I've never actually seen anyone actually do it though. I've mentioned it, but people don't actually do it. I think it's because I think people are like saying, at times it's like as an option, right? Although I've never seen anyone actually attempt it. Like legit attempt it, right? Not a simulation of it, but oh, I'm actually stuck in the snow. Let's try this out, right? All right. But it could help. I think it just depends on the incline, right? Because if you're trying to overcome this bump and the bump is slowing you down and there's ice or snow or maybe not necessarily slush, but like that kind of what I call it looks like a lighter tint of like brown sugar. You know that kind of snow. Iron virus, you see it in urban, well, in certain areas at times, right? Because the way that it's mixed in and people track it in, and it goes everywhere, right? So this is why at times people push, right? Because sometimes you're just trying to overcome that one little bump in the road, literally a hurdle in the road that's causing you to not get any traction, so you keep sliding back down that gradient, that slope. And I'm not even talking about anything that high. It could be just a foot tall. It's just that you don't have, especially at a standstill too. Remember, you don't have momentum, right? This is why sometimes you'll see when people are pushing, they're trying to add some momentum in there to overcome that hurdle, well, in the snow, or bump in the snow, right? So they can get onto a place that has more traction, right? And I always remember that too. It's just like, I'll be like, yeah, aim for that spot, right? Right when you get to that spot, it looks like it has good traction, you could stop there, right? For example, right? Because I know some people around here know about that momentum, right? Sometimes like, you just gotta be like, you know what I mean? And overcome that through sheer power or energy, right? So you maintain some momentum until you can get to a spot that has better traction, right? Because even in the desert environment, right, they say that too, right? They have those things that they can pull along to have, or metal, right, that you can put underneath your vehicle. They're tied to your vehicle in some way. So basically, it gives you temporary traction, and once you get to a spot that that's better, right? Those not treads, but those metal, it's like a metal grade traction aids or whatever, just get pulled behind, so you don't have to go back and get them, right? I mean, that's kind of more or less the same, you know. You know, so desert and snow can kind of behave the same. Not necessarily on your, you know, clothing that you choose, right? But, sand can be slippery too. If it's just all sand, right? It's just like trying to run on a sandy beach, right? You don't have a lot of traction, right? Same thing if you're trying to run on a bunch of snow in the same footwear, right? So, yeah. Morning, Hi, Bobby. Well, okay, I guess this means that I just have to do a longer stream. 20 minutes till the hour. I was gonna end this sooner, but I'll give a little bit more time. Not that much time, apparently. Oh, in spring and mud? Iron farmers? There is this other thing I've heard about. For example, I think like I said, it depends what you have access to, right? In terms of resources, right? Sand, salt, gravel, a shovel, right? Even sticks branches can help from traction. Have I tried all them out? No. Have I seen them? I've seen some in videos, right? But that's in video, right? But some of it I haven't seen in the real world with my own eyes, and actually seeing like people I know or in this area actually attempt to use it, alright? Because I think, shovel, sand, shovel, gravel, and sand along the lines of that are kind of the common kind of winter traction aid things, right? Yeah, get a rock, yeah. Yeah, because it's sludge. It behaves more like like a fluid that's like salty. I mean sandy, right? Because it flows to a certain degree, right? Because it's so small, right? And that doesn't have any structure to it, right? Unless you put water to it, right? So, yeah. Let me add a little bit more charge to my battery here. It's at 31. I'll show you guys back outside again. Are you getting snow? Are you getting that snow, that storm Iron Fire Horse out east? Are you getting it in your area, relatively speaking, right? I know you live kind of more north, but I know it's in the news, and sometimes it's in my home feed over on the YouTube side, or even over on IG, on Instagram, where I see it, right? And stuff like that. You know, so. And obviously, I'm looking for, like, repetition, right? Right? If I'm seeing the same clips, maybe, yeah, kind of deal, right? Or people talking about it, right? And stuff like that. Like, I used to watch Highway Through Hell, right, at times, and it reminds me of it more and more. Basically, like, tow truck kind of guys kind of show, right? But usually on that show, they usually would show not a car or a truck. It'd be like a semi, right? Because a semi hit the ditch or whatever, and their trailer's bent out of shape, and these guys are trying to, bring it back to the road, and make it so the semi is not blocking like one of the two lanes, or one of the lanes on the highway or on the road, right? They probably don't get as much recognition as they should, right? Because those are the people that are actually like some sort of crash or whatever. They're the ones helping clean up the site. Obviously, police is there and stuff like that. Obviously, accidents have to be written up and all that stuff, right? Emergency vehicles and stuff like that. But those are the guys that are doing the legwork to remove it, right? Just like the snow removal guys. The guys that are shoveling, like, it's Thursday, but you attend church or whatever. I remember seeing that too, right? It's just like these kids were shoveling the snow out front, right? I just said something really nice, right? I'm like, you guys are doing a great job. I'm like, yeah, because we're walking, me, my friend, and some other people I know, we're walking around it, so, and these guys are shoveling the snow, right? Yeah. Alright. So I always appreciate that, right? Because unlike some places I see at times where it's just like, yeah, where I know that, oh yeah, the snow removal contract doesn't include dealing with the ice, right? So usually that's left to the homeowner or whatever, right? So they're putting it down like ice melt, traction aids, and stuff like that. Really? Oh yeah. That's very, because you get that layer of ice underneath the snow, right? And that you may not see, and because the temperature dropped suddenly, or drastically, or quickly enough, right? It changed it up from that liquid to more of a solid, and because it was sitting on the top, that layer of water, right? It's flat. Like, if snow's melting, if you see a reflection, like a mirror type of reflection from like lights, sunshine, or whatever, right? You gotta realize that if that freezes, let's say overnight after the sun goes down, let's say there's a sudden drop in temperature or whatever, right? That will freeze the black ice because it's level, flat, and it's probably not very smooth, or relatively speaking. And smooth ice, just like a skating ring, hockey, stuff like that, smooth ice is very slippery. I mean, there's those videos out there that show people skating on a road, right? That's how much that is, right? It's more noticeable when you see it like that, right? Like, I'm like, well, you know what? If you don't got traction aids and it's not slippery, maybe ice skates might be a better way of locomotion, of movement. I'm not recommending it, but I'm just saying, well, some people have done that. You know, it's just like using like snowshoes, right? That's actually one of these things that I've been considering. I'm like, I actually don't have snowshoes. I know Canadian doesn't have snowshoes. Like what? I mean, I got a shovel anyway. Ice skates, right? Because usually I'm not trekking for that deep of snow, right? Maybe a foot, maybe two at most, right? So I've been thinking about it as adding that into my preparedness. I'm like, well, maybe it could be beneficial at certain times, right? I think it's one of those things that if I can see the benefit in a year or a given time, or I had to go somewhere and it's deep snow and it's snowing, right? It may be useful. Because actually, when you sink down to the snow with your boots, right? Because you're lifting your foot up or dragging your foot through the snow, it's very exhausting because you're doing extra effort, right? You gotta lift your feet up higher or drag your foot through the resistance of the snow. So it takes longer. I remember it was actually last year. It was actually before Christmas, right? And I had to trek for the snow. A spot that would only take me, let's say, a couple minutes without any snow or anything like that blocking the way took me like 10 at least, right? Because I had to trek through it. Now, could snowshoes help? Maybe. I would have to try it again in similar conditions, right? But yeah. Yeah, especially over bridges, yeah. That's cool, Iron Fighters. I have attempted at least once. It wasn't that deep, but I tried to make very primitive, very improvised, very prototype snowshoes before off the landscape. I did try this once, alright? And yeah, my feet didn't sink in as deep, alright? I'm like, I understand snowshoes are supposed to spread the weight out so you don't sink in the snow as much, right? Versus concentrating your pressure over a smaller area. You're spreading your weight over a greater area, therefore you don't sink as much in the same type of snow, right? For example, especially that fluffy snow that just seems to pile up at times until there's a layer of ice on the top or whatever, right? Or until it gets fine, or until it starts to melt and starts to, push the air out, but let the water's the snow part remain, right? Or what snow just piles on top, one or the other. Yeah. Like even my other friend has one for her kids. I'm like, she was showing me this, and because I was talking to her about it, I'm like, I said to her, I'm like, I've been considering it, right? At times I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, I got boots, right, and stuff like that. So also that's helps, right? So, hey, I think about the snowshoes. Can snowshoes have grip on them? Right? I'm just thinking of like if I'm transitioning from like somewhere icy to something that has deep snow, right? Are the snowshoes actually gonna give me grip on that ice? It'll help on the snowbank, right? For example, right? Just like ice cleats will help me on ice, but they're not gonna help me in the snowbank because I'm still gonna sink. just as much as if I wasn't wearing them at all, right? Because I'm not really increasing the surface area of my step. for example. Clean snowshoes? No, not yeah, clean it. Yeah. I don't know. Like I was just thinking out loud, right? You know, in terms of like transitioning, right? For example. So yeah, I mean I've seen the videos on making like really good primitive wooden snowshoes, right, from scratch, right? But hey, obviously the materials and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe that's on my to-do list or hey on my wish list of things, right? Right. I'm just saying iron fireworks, right? You know, like could be very beneficial. How long have I been streaming for? Wow, almost 55 minutes. I gotta look at time. Yeah. It's like 7 minutes to the top hour. Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Iron fireworks. Yeah. I am gonna go till the top of the hour, so 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Because I want to try out some other things. Is this really still working? Like I said, I'm just trying out some stuff randomly. Just to see for myself, right? If I actually using them in the real world or attempting it. Wow. This is nice. That's nice. Hey, Iron Firehorse, maybe I'll send you a picture later of something I've been working on. I'll send you a sneak peek. The perks of knowing me and talking to me outside of YouTube, alright? Sometimes I don't mind sharing something. Sneak peek on something, right? No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. No, I think screws would be better, or like those, right, those carbide tip or whatever items or whatever, right? Because they're harder, right? It won't wear down as much. Because nails are usually flat at the bottom, right? And a flat piece of metal is probably going to be worse than a piece of wood that's flat, in my opinion. On ice, anyways. Like I said, I'd probably use screws instead. Alright. There's something I want. Oh. Anyways, yeah. There's something else I want to try out here today, since I'm also getting some sunshine. Something I want to test out randomly. See if it's even viable, but I got a window of opportunity to try it out here. Yeah. Well, not only that, screws also have that tip head, right? I mean, whatever it is, Phillips or flathead or whatever, right? So that would probably add some traction or a degree of traction, right? Because I know the thing about ice cleats is that they're fine for outside. They're not so great on floors like you would see in a shopping mall, grocery store, right? Because I've actually had, I think this is why you want some of your boot or shoe to still touch the ground. I've noticed that when I tried them out, where I'm like, I actually have to take them off in the mall, in, let's say, a mall, a grocery store or whatever, because it's just like, I'm actually like, the tips are sticking out so much that the sole of my shoe, foot, boot, or whatever isn't touching the ground. And I'm basically like on stilts, right? But because the ground in a shopping center, a grocery store, right, is in that certain way, right? I slide on it. inside, so I had to actually take them off inside sometimes, right? So, I mean, there's ones that you can get that are like halves, right? Just like a toe portion, right? Without the heel portion, right? So, I don't know. I don't see a lot of people wearing them at times, but the people I do see them wearing that are wearing them are usually the people that are like walking their dog, or example, their pets or whatever, going for their morning walk or whatever, right? So like I'll see them wearing them, right? I can tell, right? And they're like, yeah, I had to dust off the ice skates from the garage and stuff like that, you know. And they're like, yeah, because it's slippery out and I'm going for these walks. I'm like, yeah, right, you know. Getting a sprain on your or whatever, or dealing with the pain is just bad enough, right? All right. You don't realize it until it happens, right? And when those times that you decide not to wear it and something happens, you're like, in hindsight, right? So it's just one of those things. Because like I actually noticed that too, where I was like wearing these winter boots that had good grip, that some of this air gear that has less grip, I'm like, oh wait, it's actually more slippery out than I realized. It's just that my winter boots actually have so much more traction that I didn't notice it, right? Like, I could see it, don't get me wrong, right? But, like, I took something else out, like, for example, to try out, right? Because I realized two things. If I can walk on it with slippers that have no grip, it's good enough. It's good enough, right? Because that simulates the worst case scenario type of thing, right? Most people have some sort of grip, some sort of sole on their boot, ice skates or whatever here, around here anyways, right? So if I'm not slipping on, like, slippers that have no grip whatsoever, surely this is going to go well for most people, right? In my opinion, anyways. Yeah. Is that time? It's almost that time. Isn't it? Oh, it actually is. It is exactly 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern right now. So I appreciate everyone dropping by on this stream, on this winter related preparedness PSA, preparedness service announcement. Hey, that could be a PSA too, right? Preparedness service announcement. Yeah. So if someone else starts saying that, remember I said it first. I'm coining it. No, you can use it too, but like go out there and gain some experience. For example, right now I'm actually gonna show you guys outside. Hey, wait! I'm first gonna see this. And the thing is, I'm actually wearing slippers. I do. See the snowbank. Like, this is pretty solid. Alright. Hold on a sec. Like I said, I'm just wearing slippers out here real quick. Just because I'm just out here briefly, right? And this is what I said. Alright, so. Alright, best traction's gonna be right here, see? Sunshine. This was went earlier in the week, snow covered ice, removed it, let it dry, and now I got traction. I don't have to add sand or salt for a while, right? Unless it comes back. So everyone, go out there and do something awesome. Be ready. Take winter seriously, like I said in the past, right? Apply that knowledge, right? And stuff like that. And winter gear helps when you have it. It's not going to be very useful if you don't have it, or it's not with you at the time, right? A shovel doesn't help if you don't have it with you, right? Ice skates don't help if you don't have them on you, right? When you're walking. So you use them have them with you so you have access to them. And as things are changing out there, we're gonna at least try to adapt to the best that we can. And our skill and knowledge do get better with practice. Generally. Right? And you get more proficient at it. And try to help someone when possible. Take care, everyone. I'll catch you on the next video, live stream. And stay tuned for this month's videos, as they are related somewhat to winter. And I'll elaborate some other things. And you get to see something else you haven't seen on the channel yet, amongst some other things. Alright, everyone. Take care, and I'll catch you all on the next one.